and welcome to another episode of Ulvespill Interviews. And this time we actually have a visitor from Ubisoft, and it's Michael, who is a communication manager at the Nordic office in Ubisoft. And we're actually going to do this interview and this episode in English because, Norwegian, Danish language, so you don't have to say the same sentence 5 times to understand each other. So why not just English? But let's say hi to Michael.
Hi. I appreciate that we do this in English, that's for sure.
But first of all, before you actually talk about you working at Ubisoft and somewhat, you have to learn a little about who you are and where you're from and actually your previous experience and so forth. Who is Michael?
Yeah, who am I? Well, I'm from Denmark, born and raised. I'm turning 35 years in a couple of weeks. Well, my previous experience, I'm coming from a marketing and communication background, pretty much. I have a master's degree in marketing communication, and I have been around doing branding and marketing started in Monster Energy, the energy drink in the Nordic department. Like, when is that now? Almost 7.5 years ago. And from there, I pretty much just moved on to do marketing for a consulting company, and further on to the Danish Football Federation for the women's national team. Now I'm sitting here in Ubisoft Nordic, and I've been here for 3 years now.
I've been doing a little bit of snooping on your LinkedIn page, and I also saw you have previous experience from Yellow Pages and, like you said, Monster Energy, Cruco.
Cruco is the consulting company that I worked for. It was a startup company that I pretty much was a part of starting up. It was me and a woman called Sille Cruco who started up a consulting company. She had some super good ideas, I thought, back then. Well, still think, but I'm not a part of it anymore. Super good ideas. So we decided to try to build a company around her ideas and her knowledge. And totally back in the days before I even got my master's in marketing communication, I was doing plain sales. I've been doing sales I've been working in the fashion industry at selling stuff at the Fashion Week in Copenhagen and Fashion Week Stockholm, and I have been standing in clothing stores, and then I ended up at Yellow Pages, sitting with a phone, selling ads in the phone books. And then I decided to move on and get some more education, and got my master's in marketing communication.
For those of you guys who don't know what he's talking about when it comes to Yellow Pages, there's a very thick book with all the phone numbers that you have to go through to find. We did have the Yellow Pages on the internet, like you have now.
Yeah, exactly.
But you also started a company called Mist, is that correct?
Oh yeah, that's a funny story. Oh, you really want that one?
Oh yeah.
Well, that was actually part of my master's degree. So I did my master's in Madrid, in Spain, at an international school. My project, my exam project, was about it. I wrote it together with an Indian guy that I went to school with, and we kind of thought that the young sports talents in India, they really don't have much of a possibility, and the chances to become something in sports that can secure you a living is very, very limited in India, even though that there's actually a professional scene and many professional possibilities. So we thought of we wrote this exam project about how we could secure more Indian sports talents to get noticed internationally, and maybe secure a living, about, again, doing branding and communication around them, and secure them sponsors, and how to get them to go to international tournaments and stuff like that. Well, my Indian friend, he liked the idea so much. So when he went back to India, he called me and he asked like, "Should we start this company? I'm starting this company, and you're gonna be a part of it, Michael." I was like, "Okay, let's do it." So he started this company. It still exists, but he has moved on. We had a couple of boxers and badminton players and stuff like that. We did football trips for Indian children to Spain. We had a contact in Getafe, which is a Spanish back then Liga B club. So we had an Indian team of boys going there for a practice session for 2 weeks, where we tried to get sponsors to secure them economically so they could go there. Then we had boxers and other athletes, but now he has actually moved on to handle politicians. So it kind of moved totally where it started. But still, it's about branding and communication and handling politicians' campaigns. Now, I'm not really a part of it anymore. I was mostly like the European part when we had like the boxers and badminton players going to Europe. I would like secure sponsors and hotels and stuff over here. But now I have too much other to look into. But it still exists, the company. Yeah.
But now you actually work at Ubisoft, and before we actually talk about the Ubisoft job, while you're working with the video games, you actually have to talk a little about your previous video game experience and what your favorite video games genres are and your top 3 video games. Video games.
Well, my top 3 video. I think it's I like totally honest. I think it's very, very difficult to answer. I think there are a lot of good video games, and I've spent a lot of time in many video games. I'm the kind of gamer that never really gets very good at a game. You know, I'm not a good gamer, but I really enjoy putting a lot of hours into games. But I will never become like a super good gamer. I've never. But I've put a lot of hours into a lot of different games. But actually, maybe a bit biased, but Division 1, which I had never played before I started at Ubisoft 3 years ago, was probably the first game I've ever tried that I just felt I had to finish and I couldn't put it away. So when I started at Ubisoft, I got this Division 1 game for my PC. And even though I had a full-time job and a family, I think I finished the game in less than a week because I just played every night, because I just had to finish this game. And I really liked the atmosphere, and the way I was drawn into the game was really, really amazing. And I honestly haven't felt that with any other game before or after. Not even with the Ubisoft game. Division 1 just did something crazy about me. I don't know what. But besides that, I've really, and I'm still enjoying Heroes of Might and Magic 3, which is an old school game. And back then, the Heroes of Might and Magic 3 is probably the best Heroes of Might and Magic that has ever been created. And based on the success of that game, Ubisoft bought them. So it was actually not even made by Ubisoft. But today, Ubisoft has the brand and has made Heroes of Might and Magic 4 and 5 and 6 and 7. But Heroes of Might and Magic 3 is probably the best Heroes of Might and Magic ever, and it's a great strategic game, or whatever you want to call it. I played it as late as this Sunday. I played it 6 hours. I really, really enjoy that game. And the last one is difficult. I have played Diablo a lot, but I also still play a lot of League of Legends. So those two are like the third. I don't know which one is like the most. They are very different. But it's probably League of Legends. I'm spending a lot of hours in League of Legends at the moment.
That's a lot of games, you know. But what was your first game you tried? What got you into gaming?
Well, the very first got me into gaming was the first one I had on my PC. It was Prince of Persia.
Yeah, like in the picture right there.
This platform game, and for a younger audience, they might think it looks insanely boring, but it was so it sounds stupid, but it was so intense. You know, when you was running around here, you know, the stones could fall. You had to jump. That could come. Things could come up from the ground, and you had to fight with swords. And it was super cool. And I think I was maybe 5 years old. It was back in 1990. I got it the first time I tried it, and I've pretty much played it ever since. I will never become a good gamer. I don't think I've ever completed this game, even though I've now played it for like 25 years, 30 years, and I mean I still haven't completed the game. But I've always had like a dust simulator on my computer, so and I always have Prince of Persia on my computer because it's just a brilliant time consumer.
Let's talk about your current job and how did you actually manage to get the job at Ubisoft. It's a very big company, especially inside the video game industry.
Yeah, well, that story is probably it's pretty boring. I mean, I was in the Danish Football Federation. I was I was hired for a project, so I mean I had like a limited time there. So while I was there, I was just simply looking for other jobs, and I never thought of going into the gaming industry. But then while I was there, one of my friends, he saw this job posting from Ubisoft Nordic, and he sent it to me and said like, "This is gonna be you. It's perfect for you." And it was the first time I think that Ubisoft Nordic posted like a job posting where it included esports. And since I came from the sports background, I had an interest for sport. My friend was like, "Oh, this is esports. It could maybe be interesting for you." So I pretty much just applied for the job and got it. Not really that interesting. Not that much to say to that. I was just lucky to get this super cool job.
What does actually a communication manager actually do at Ubisoft?
A communication manager at Ubisoft Nordic is I'm responsible for all third-party communication, which means that everyone that we wish to communicate our games, the messages from our games, those are the ones I'm responsible for and in dialogue with and communicating with. So it is journalists, which is my main focus. I talk with journalists every day. And then it's content creators like streamers, YouTubers, Instagrammers, whoever has like a vocal voice in order to be able to communicate the values and the awesomeness I think we have in our games.
What would you say is a typical workday for you?
Well, a typical workday is a mix of fun and creative stuff, and of course, like any other job, some boring stuff. So, I mean, every day I'm in contact with journalists and or content creators. I'm communicating on all platforms thinkable. I have TikTok influencers contacting me on TikTok. I have Twitter influencers contacting me on Twitter. I'm talking on Discord and Instagram, Facebook, email, Teams, Skype. On any platform, I mean, that is the most important part of the communication manager's job. It's being in touch with everyone who enjoy our games and make sure that they always know what's going on, what they can know, and keep them in the loop of what's going on so they stay hyped and interested in Ubisoft and find Ubisoft relevant at all times. The worst thing that can happen, or the biggest fail, in my opinion, that a communication manager can do is to become irrelevant. So I have to make sure that they think that Ubisoft and our products are relevant at all times. Then, of course, I have a bunch of emails because I do a lot of creative planning. Again, I'm planning communication campaigns with the YouTubers or streamers. So I'm planning like if we have new content for a game, I have to contact a lot of streamers and ask them if they want to stream some of the new content. I have a lot of data I have to collect and see if my ideas and creative ideas and if the streamers I have chosen for a specific game has performed the way we expected and hoped for, or if we didn't get the reach or the reactions of the game that we wanted. And then, of course, like in any other company and business, I have reportings. I have to document what I did and where we failed and how we can improve. So that's pretty much a daily work for me.
Yeah, now you're stuck with me in this interview, so...
Yeah, exactly. That's something different. That's a pleasure.
You're working with a lot of big titles, like Assassin's Creed, Rainbow Six, Far Cry, and so forth. And we actually have a small clip for you guys this time.
Yeah.
You'll showcase a little trailer, and you're also going to talk a little bit about that game afterwards.
Perfect.
So, I have to actually push the button.
I can see your fate. It flows like a river, carved out before you. I can see your desires, taking you far from your home, to lands of power, of mystics and legends. But you are hiding something. You walk with shadows. What is it you seek? I see conquest. I see your enemies. Your struggles. Your doubts. Glory awaits you, Eivor. But it will cost you everything. See all of it. Blood and flame. Loyalty and family. Betrayal. Hunger. There is a war within you. And glory will not be enough.
There's no doubt we're going to talk about Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Because, because we're Scandinavian.
Exactly.
And a part of the Valhalla game is in Norway and Denmark and some parts in Sweden as well. Maybe it's actually in the Scandinavian countries. And we'll talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually only it only goes on in Norway. That's the game. The game, of course, takes its beginning in or not the beginning, but it's about Vikings. So of course it starts in the Nordic country, and we have these. Our Vikings that are Norsemen. Back then, I mean, most of the Nordic country, they were just called the Norse area where Norsemen came from. Funny story actually is that back then, and what you will realize in the game is that everyone, no matter where you came from, the Englands, they just called all Vikings for Danes. something I didn't know until until I one of our developers talking about it. So everyone was called Danes back then. But yeah, so I mean, I'm super excited about, of course, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. That we finally get an Assassin's Creed game that has a focus on Vikings, the Norse mythology, the history of the Vikings. That I think that's amazing. Furthermore, of course, that they have actually gone so far that they have 2 Danish voice actors doing the male and female Ivor. I think that's great. They could easily have found Americans voice actors or whatever, but they actually decided to go with Nordic actors, which I think is super cool.
You know, actually, in particular actors they're talking about.
Yeah. They have used a woman called Cecilie Stensbill. She's not that known internationally, I think, but she is like very popular in Denmark. She has done a lot of TV series and popular TV series in Denmark. And then Magnus Broen, which is actually right now one of the Vikings in Kingdoms that's on Netflix, I think.
Yeah.
A big red-haired guy, a super nice guy, who's already playing a Viking, so he's a perfect fit. So those are the 2, and then they also decided to go back to Jesper Kyd, the musician who did music for some of the previous Assassin's Creed games, but Ubisoft didn't use him for the last 3 or 4 Assassin's Creed games, but now they actually went back to him, and they also brought in a Norwegian musician, which unfortunately I can't remember the name of right now. But so I think it's super. I think it's amazing that they brought in so many, not just the theme, but actually they brought in the Nordic, so much of many Nordic people to be part of this. And I mean, part of this communication, what we just saw here, the Boss Logic reveal, I think was a super cool add to the entire start of the communication campaign we're gonna run on Valhalla. So having this great kickoff with Boss Logic doing this very long stream where he slowly created the theme and like revealed the theme of the next Assassin's Creed, I think was super cool. And then
that was the video we had in the background right now, the photoshopping right there.
Yeah, exactly. And then, I mean, add on with Danish actors and Danish and Norwegian musicians, and it's going on in the north. I mean, it's from a PR and communication perspective, that's just amazing. A great opportunity to do something to reach new medias and hopefully new people. Get the game out so to new people to Assassin's Creed series will find it interesting and would like to try the game. So that I'm super excited about right now.
And for the people in the chat, if you have questions for either me or Michael or about Assassin's Creed, just hit them in the chat and I'll try to answer that at the end of the stream. What other aspects from the Nordic part of the game can we talk about? Like, do we actually hear conversations that's going in Norse language?
Well, from what I know, no. I mean, I don't know much more than it's actually public knowledge. But I have in the walkthrough videos, I have seen that they are yelling "score." So there might be there might be some words.
Do you know specific places that the game are based on? Specific locations from Norway, other than the public research video they published?
No, I don't think it's. I don't think so. They have they have this public research video. I know they have been in. They have visited both Denmark and Norway to see different spots. They have visited a couple of museums. But what exactly made them decide where it should go and where it should happen and why? I really don't know. I think of course Norway compared to Denmark, visually Norway sets a better scene, right? You got the mountains, you got this amazing wilderness, the feeling of just how high there is to the sky. I think Denmark versus Norway on this specific thing. I think it's kind of obvious that it should be Norway.
Yeah, well, Denmark is just flat ground compared.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And I gotta just try to reach a little bit from the gameplay aspect. Because in the game you have to fish and hunt to gather resources and food. And do you know if you actually have to chop wood to build houses and boats?
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen that. I don't think so. I think honestly, I don't know.
Well,
I haven't seen any of it. The thing is, actually, I have spent less time in this game than some of the journalists, so I don't know that much about what's actually gonna happen. But I don't know.
you gotta leave it to the mystery.
Yeah.
You gotta jump back to actually the communication manager part again. And how about you? And any particular campaigns and projects that you are incredibly proud of working on, or have been worked on?
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, I think this Assassin's Creed, being able to sit and work on an Assassin's Creed with the Valhalla theme and the Nordic theme is probably one of the biggest things I guess you can experience when it comes to sit on a communication campaign in gaming industry. I mean, it's a huge brand, so of course that's awesome. And I'm super excited about what is to come and what we're gonna do, and I'm super excited of and super proud of what we've already done, due to also the situation that there was no E3, there's no Gamescom, so we had to create this digital UB Forward presentation. We had to, for people that don't know gaming that is watching this, maybe it's worth to mention that when we go to E3 or we go to Gamescom or whatever, we usually invite journalists like you, Kim, to actually try the game before anyone else. And you get the chance to actually capture the game and try the game, and you can write an article about what you actually tried. But this year everything was cancelled. We had to think fast. We had like some incredible guys sitting in France thinking fast, and I mean they came up with this digital UB Forward, and we have been working like crazy for the last couple of months. So this July we have had. It was a limited amount, but we actually had the opportunity to get a few journalists and a few content creators hands-on both Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Watch Dogs Legion. And it was like a crazy setup, doing this digitally and over Discord and streaming and stuff like that. But it has been an amazing experience, and it worked out. And I think it has just been a super cool experience, like being forced to think new and creative. I mean, that is always super cool. But besides this, I think actually, what else? I mean, we have had so many good games. I think also, even though Ghost Recon Breakpoint, you know, people have their opinion about that game, but it has now turned into something very, very good. I think it's a very, very good game now, Ghost Recon Breakpoint. And having been a part of, one thing is the first communication from reveal to launch. It was a super good campaign we ran there. a lot of cool assets and videos and creative cartoons we had on social medias. We had some great local events in the Nordics where we invited content creators and journalists to come and try the game. We had a great idea for the launch that actually went pretty well, where we went and we were 3 places in Sweden, a place in Denmark, and a place we were in Copenhagen, Stockholm, and 3 places in Sweden at the same time, the same evening that the game launched, where people could try the game, they could get the game, and a lot of merch, and they could get food and beer and stuff like that. So I think the Ghost Recon Breakpoint campaign was actually pretty good, but keeping it alive for the last year and what it has now become, and the communication about it had actually been even better. And we just had a great new release of new content that now we actually have a pretty good game on our hands. And the community around it didn't leave the game. They are actually still there, and they are more excited than ever about the Ghost Recon Breakpoint game now. So that is also I'm pretty proud of being able to keep a positive vibe in the community and among the content creators for Ghost Recon Breakpoint.
Like Michael mentioned, from the press events and from you actually have the gameplay capture from a Ghost Recon Breakpoint press events from 2018, I think it was. Yeah. And if you go back on our previous broadcast, you can actually see that broadcast at our Twitch channel if you guys are interested.
Cool. Yeah.
And really want that hands on the Assassin's Creed Valhalla, so that Gamescom is cancelled just.
Yeah, I get that.
They actually have a little bit of footage from Gamescom with us. It's a small footage. And this
very small.
This small video is a typical Gamescom day.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that is just it's crazy. And this is what it's just one of the lines to get into Gamescom. And I think this is from 2018. That was my first Gamescom, and it was my first big event I went to. My previous events had been from football stadiums, and I mean there's a lot of people there, but nothing compared. I
want to show you that that was one line. I think it was 8 or 9 different lines from the entrances, that it was packed.
Exactly,
with people,
and they were all like that, you know.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, when I was there, I was at that year. When I went to Gamescom, when both press and you know, the exhibitors like Ubisoft, we get access the day before, so we can go and set up our stuff and prepare. I mean, the booth is set up way before, but then the people like me and journalists come the day before, so we can get to know the area and where should we go when it's hectic, and we can do some interviews and stuff like that. And you know, you were walking around, and it was like, okay, from the entrance and down to Ubisoft, it took about 15 minutes, 20 minutes to walk. You know, so I had an hour until my first interview, and I arrived, and I was like, I'm never gonna walk these 500 meters in an hour. You know, it's not gonna happen. And it was mind-blowing experience, because it's also like this inside. I mean, it was so packed. It's not Corona friendly, that's for sure. That's for sure. It was an amazing experience, and definitely, if anyone has the chance, they should go and experience Gamescom. Well, let's see how it's going to be in the future, but it's definitely a visit, worth a visit.
Absolutely. And also, I actually saw that line. You know, you have that certification when you have the press pass or exhibitor pass. You just walk past all that line and just go straight in, and you can see all the bad looks you're getting, and that's just awesome.
Yeah. That's perfect.
You had any funny stories from press events and cons and so forth?
Well, I mean, do I have any funny stories? I don't know if I have any funny stories. Well, it's not really a funny story, but I went to E3 last year, and it has probably happened before, but that was my first time at E3. And E3 is it's like Gamescom. Not that many people like Gamescom, but there's still a lot of people there. It's still a busy thing. And it was super hot last year. I think it was like in the end of the 30s degrees, like 37, 36 degrees in Los Angeles, maybe 40 some of the days. It was super, super, super hot. And you know, there is a lot of exhibitions going on there, and they need power. They need power. And I think 3 times in 2 days, the entire exhibition just went dark. All electricity just died. I mean, if you want to show a video game, you kind of need power, you know? So watching these thousands and thousands of screens just going dark. And it's not like it's 30 seconds. It's like, okay, now it's 10 minutes where nothing is happening. Everybody's looking at each other like, what's happening? Again, or what's gonna happen? You know, and the AC, it turns hot so fast in there when the AC dies and everything dies. So that was an interesting experience and a pretty funny one. But besides that, I don't know if I have any crazy, funny, interesting stories. I mean, it's always very hectic, and you must also know that as a journalist. I mean, running around and going for all the interviews and the capture sessions and being able, I mean, you're probably more busy than I am because you're running between all of the. But I mean, I also sit at E3 with maybe I have like 20 sessions of journalists that both wants to try the games, they want to do interviews during a day, and suddenly you have 2 journalists that are not showing up and they are gone, they don't know, they call you and they can't find their way and you have to find them and explain where they're going to go, you know. So it's not like I go out and actually experience the conferences when I'm there. I'm pretty much just trying to make sure that they find their way to me.
Yeah, it's kind of sweaty business, you can say. Yeah. I remember at the Gamescom, I had one interview at the one end of the Gamescom area, and I had an appointment in 10 minutes all over the other side, and it was the most busy day.
That's not possible. That's not possible
at all. So I had to call the PR contact. I'm gonna be late.
2 hours later. Hello.
Yeah. I have one last question for you before we jump into the questions in the chat, because it's coming a lot of questions in the chat right now.
That's perfect.
That's perfect. But I actually always end the interview with one particular question, and that is, what is your guilty pleasure to relax after a heavy day at work?
Well, and it's actually super guilty because I work at Ubisoft, but it's actually playing League of Legends. I don't think it's a good thing to say loud, but it's kind of, no, it's not guilty. It is guilty, but it's not. It's okay, I think, from my guys at the office. No, it is League of Legends at the moment, and it has been for many years. I really find it's something that can really make. If I'm just relaxing, my brain just keeps going work-wise. I need something that I can use my brain for, and League of Legends is a good mix of gaming and fun, and still you gotta think strategically all the time, and so it works pretty well at the moment, man. Yeah.
All right, let's jump to the questions in the chat. You're gonna pick a few of them that's you might gonna answer. We're gonna try. And you can start with the question that is not about Assassin's Creed first, and that's the question from Klonokai, and he's asking, what's the criteria of being noticed by Ubisoft to receive early access promotions, becoming an ambassador, and actually being noticed as a streamer though by Ubisoft? What's the criteria?
Well, you can't really say there is a criteria. I mean, it's not something that we have like a booklet, like follow these steps and find everyone that follows this, and then you can be seen. But I mean, we have a lot of different ways to get into and work with Ubisoft in many aspects. I mean, but so we have a lot of activities when it comes to the community and community ambassadors. I mean, we are always looking for people that are positive towards Ubisoft games and want to do content and want to try the games and stuff like that. But it's not always possible for us to just give out keys and give out early access. It's always limited what we can do and what we can, how we can do it. But people, they always, I don't know about this this person in particular, but most people, they just want like, oh, can I get a key? Can I get a key? I just want to, can I get a key? And it's like, but it's our business to sell games. We cannot just give keys away to everyone. That makes no sense for our business. But I mean, we also help a lot of content creators and great cosplayers and stuff like that with finding drawings and high resolution drawings so they can do cosplay from some of our stuff. I mean, it's really not that. It's if you have an idea, it's pretty much just to reach out. If it's not just about a key and a free game, it's pretty much just to reach out, because we always love to hear positive feedback, and if you have great ideas on what you want to do and can do. But I mean, of course, we couldn't just help and answer every single email for everyone that likes our game. So looking from a communication perspective and a business perspective, of course, we need you to have some kind of a reach. But I mean, but it's everyone. I mean, I have sent drawings to a guy who didn't. I mean, it was not for the followers or anything. He had 50 followers on Instagram. He was just a super cool cosplayer that contacted me and asked for some drawings to do some cool cosplay. And I was like, yeah, do it. And I helped him find the drawings because I had the time. So if we have the time, we are willing to help all that we can.
Hope that answered the question, cool guy. All right, let's try to go through the Assassin's Creed questions here, because there's coming a lot here. Kind of difficult to pick, actually. See, that's not about the gameplay aspect. We have one question from Norge the Man. Jackson Crawford was the consultant for the runic writing of the game.
Yeah.
Do you know if the game will feature any more runes that's been showcased?
Any what? Sorry?
Any more runes? If the game is going to feature more runes from Jackson Crawford?
Oh, I have no idea. Sorry. No clue. No clue.
And we also have a lot of questions. Any appearances by historical Norse characters or any other historical characters from the Norse mythology? Inside the gameplay and not in the cutscenes, so forth. That's a lot of gameplay there. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's not something I really can't go into detail about. I mean, there is what is shown in the videos. Yeah, just a second. Just a second.
Right back.
I just realized my power was running out here, so I'm just gonna on here. I'm back. That would be stupid, right? Running out of power in the middle of this.
It's actually not something you actually talked about before the stream, but I hope we don't get any technical difficulties.
So, perfect. We're back. No, so I can't really go into detail about. I mean, I think from what I've seen in the videos and the trailers, it seems like there something is gonna happen. But I mean, I no clue.
But what we can talk about is something that actually had been showcased that we can repeat, because they also, some of the questions are, what is new in Valhalla compared to Origins and Odyssey?
Oh, I mean, I can definitely talk a little bit about that. I mean, it has also been mentioned but there's definitely the fighting. The fighting has been changed a little bit. So it's a new technique when fighting. It's we are going back to actually before Origins and Odyssey, to the way that the fighting scenes are. So you have to like change your mindset when fighting now. It's a bit different, and most of the journalists we have had that tried the game, they found it a little bit difficult in the beginning to get into how we fight now. but it actually makes a lot of sense in this game, because what is also new is this dual wielding system that you can pretty much mix whatever you want. If you want to go 2 shields, you can go 2 shields. If you want to go 2 axes, you can go 2 axes. Whatever you want, you can do, and there are animations for all of it. And I just read this great small article from Swedish media today that kind of combine it. They say it's kind of a Mortal Kombat thing now, because all the animations you can activate with different combinations on your joypad. So you get crazy killing animations, depending on what kind of animation, what kind of things you do with your joypad. And I think that's super cool, and that's a very new thing. What else are we bringing in that are new? Actually, we keep a lot of the good stuff, I think, from Odyssey and Origins, in my opinion. What else do we have that I can mention here? The skill tree is kind of the same. There is some few changes to the skill tree. What is else? One thing that is new is your horn. You have a horn now that you can do a lot of different stuff with, depending on the situation. And that's a pretty cool thing also now.
Perfect. I'm gonna wrap that up, and I'm gonna say thank you to Michael, who got to visit us at our virtual studio, and we're also gonna, of course, have our review of Assassin's Creed Valhalla once it releases in November, because, you know, if you guys can see it, we are very big fans of Assassin's Creed. Yeah. So yeah, I hope that some of the questions you guys are wondering about got answered, and we're gonna put on the trailer one more time before we're gonna end the stream. Thank you very much.
I can see your fate. It flows like a river, carved out before you. I can see your desires, taking you far from your home, to lands of power, of mystics and legends. But you are hiding something. You walk with shadows. What is it you seek? I see conquest. I see your enemies. Your struggles. Your doubts. Glory awaits you, Eivor. But it will cost you everything. See all of it. Blood and flame. Loyalty and family. Betrayal. Hunger. There is a war within you. And glory will not be enough.